Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my channel here. My name is Tarsha Wiggins. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and certified alcohol and drug counselor. In every video you hear me talk about or hear me say that these videos are intended to be of educational value, not intended for you to treat or diagnose yourself and just run out and do all those things independently. Always consult your behavioral health professional. So with that being said, let's jump into the other thing I always say in every video. What qualifies me to even talk about this content with you all today? I am a licensed clinical social worker and certified alcohol and drug counselor. I have 10 plus years of experience in the field of mental health, behavioral health, family, children, all of the gamut. I've done a lot of things in 10 years, and I am all the more experienced and blessed by those experiences because of it. So with that being said, let's jump into our content today. I thought it might be helpful for us to talk a little bit about loss during the time of COVID, our perception in regards to loss. So spending a little bit of time today talking about loss, our perception during and after COVID-19. So there's all different types of loss. I think anytime we address loss, our first instinct or our natural reaction may be to think about the loss of a loved one, such as in the form of death. But there's other types of loss, particularly right now with COVID. Many of us may be experiencing the loss of a job, maybe the loss of homes, the loss of our daily routines, or just the loss of our normalcy, going to work, picking up kids, dropping kids off at school. And we also want to keep in mind what our children may be experiencing and the loss that they are experiencing right now. Many of them have lost their daily routine and structure, their interaction and social interaction with friends, peers, teachers, and then the loss of celebrations. There's so many students right now that are not participating in proms, graduations, senior class trips. I know my oldest son, he's not doing a big trip that they have talked about all school year, and you had to work behaviorally and fundraising and all those things. And, now he's not going to be able to do that. So I think this is something that many of us can relate to and something that we probably should just talk a little bit about. So with all that being said, these are just some tips, things that you can do to try to help you with the transition of your loss, or things to just kind of help you maybe shift your perception about the loss a little bit. One of the first things I would recommend is that just know that you're not alone. And a lot of the research or literature I've read in the last couple of days about loss in preparation for this video, numbers were upwards of 50% of individuals within the last 3 years that felt like they have experienced a significant loss. So those losses range from death to loss of a job, relationships, things like that. So just know, one and foremost, that you're not alone when it comes to loss and experiencing a hardship with loss. Sometimes there's just discomfort in knowing that you're not alone. You're not the only person that, maybe experiencing difficulty when things change in your life. Two, I always encourage people, don't feel ashamed about addressing if you're not feeling settled, if you're feeling uneasy about loss, or you're feeling uneasy about significant change in your life. Don't feel bad. Don't feel embarrassed. One of the purposes of starting this YouTube channel is really to reduce the stigma around mental illness. So, sometimes people can develop depression in regards to loss. You just feel so depleted, empty. You can begin to feel hopeless and helpless. So again, if you've experienced a loss and you're starting to feel that way, talking about it is a great thing. You can talk about that with people you care about, people you trust, or talking about that loss with a counselor or your primary care doctor, all of the above. Just getting that off your chest so that you're not holding that in, those emotions in. Another great thing that you can do during this time is a little bit about the one we just talked about, which was talking about it, but maybe connecting with other people that have experienced a similar loss. Sometimes it's grief support groups, which those things are still active. They're just a little bit different now with COVID. There may be some telephonic grief support groups that you may be able to connect with, but it also may be you being able to connect with someone who's experienced something similar to you, and also just just being able to impart the wisdom. They can impart that wisdom to you about how they coped, how they managed, and be able to provide you with some great coping skills or techniques about it. But you can't connect with someone if you don't talk about it. So keep those things in mind. Other things I would recommend during this time is if you're experiencing that loss, and perhaps this is in relation to the death of a loved one, you know, relish the good times and the good memories. And that's even applicable when we talk about COVID and loss of our daily routine, or maybe events or celebrations. You know, maybe you're not able to have that loved one in your life right now, but you can really relish the memories and the fond experiences that you had. Those things will release those natural feel good endorphins in us, and that can help bring a sense of happiness and calm to you as well. In relation to loss of our daily activities and routines, this is a great time when we can think about the things that we used to do, how we enjoyed those things, and they can maybe give you some ideas on things that you can do currently. But again, we have to be aware of that, be aware of those things. And then we also have to factor in our perception about those things. So that also goes really nicely into the next tip here, which is thinking about those things and also looking at changing our perception when we talk about, or when we look at that thing and we say, this is so awful, I can't do this, I can't do that. But it's like, now that I can't do this, I have all this other time. Maybe this is an opportunity for me to do some of the things that I used to do, I had once done or enjoyed doing, and I just got so busy and overwhelmed with life that I wasn't able to continue those things. So think about maybe, some of the loss in terms of our normalcy. Is this an opportunity for you to do something else, for you to resume doing things or to build relationships? Some great examples. Reconnecting with old friends. Maybe you want to resume that hobby that you once had. Maybe you always wanted to learn how to sew, but you just never had the time. We have time now. So definitely look at some of those things. Maybe you used to love to journal and you just really got away from that. You have time to do those things. Maybe you always wanted to learn how to cook or join a book club or different things like that. And maybe you have time, the time to do those things. So what was seen as a loss, and what I used to do and all those joys and activities, and maybe a lot of that social interaction you once had out and about, this could be seen as an opportunity to build in some other areas in your life. So relish that. Our perception is everything. My mom would always say, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And this is what's been given to us right now. We have an ample amount of time on our hands where we're stuck in the house, and we get to choose what we do with that time. So just be empowered by knowing that you have this time, you get to choose what you do with it, and then you also are accountable to yourself for doing that. Last but not least, I also would just encourage that, we look at this time of being at home, we look at this time of, we look at the things that maybe we lost over the last couple of weeks, but also start thinking about, what do I plan to do with my future? What else is next for me? Because if we just constantly stay stuck in this place of lowness, or maybe you're stuck in this place of nothing's getting better, everything is horrid and it's awful, we can get stuck into that mindset and that thinking. But we can also take some time and energy to really start thinking about what's next for me. Maybe this is your opportunity to mend some relationships. Maybe this is an opportunity where you can be alone and really work on healing and self-discovery. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to build that business, start writing that book, or finish some things that you had once started. So just know, with all the changes that's going on, if you are feeling a sense of loss, feeling a sense of lowness, just feeling like, oh man, this is just, oh, it's never going to get better. Things are going to get better. Be aware of how you're thinking about things. Be aware of your perception when you look at your current situation, and know that everything doesn't have to be seen as a negative and as a loss. Maybe this is actually an opportunity for you, to do some things you hadn't done. And then also know, if you are feeling really low, or you're feeling like this is a really hard time for you, reach out, talk to someone about that, and connect and get the support that you need. Those were your mental health minutes. I hope you found those things to be helpful. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and more importantly, share the video or share the content with someone that you think that might benefit from hearing these encouraging words today. With all that being said, thanks so much, and go out, be conquerors, do well, and be well to yourself. Thanks so much for checking this video out.